ready? Okay, cool. Starting the City of Rollinwood Community Development Corporation agenda meeting on Monday, September 12th, 2022 at 12:10. Let's do a quick roll call. Emily Doran here.
Pat Sheehan here.
Brian Ryder here in body, but not in spirit.
Barry Docambry here.
David Smith here.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so let's do actually any public comments here or online.
I have a couple of questions about follow-up on the items. Don't have a question about the content of the minutes. Is that what we're?
No, this is public comment.
Okay, we're on public comment.
Yeah,
Okay.
now we're gonna go to the consent agenda.
Well, does that go on public comment?
No.
No, you have to be up there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you
have to go over
gotta
there and
stand
talk
up
in the
there,
mic.
yeah.
So.
Okay, moving on to consent agenda. Discussion and possible action on the minutes from August 11th, 2022 RCDC meeting. Brian, is this where you have a question?
I'm okay with the minutes. I have just a question of follow-up on what's in the minutes.
Okay,
And request the chair's ruling on whether that's something to be taken up now or later.
go ahead, now.
Go ahead?
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
On update from the retail coach, item 3 in the minutes, it said that he's gonna send over a list of properties that were being talked about for redevelopment. Have we seen such a thing?
We have not.
And then we were supposed to give him some floodplain maps for Rollingwood. Do you know if that occurred?
Sure, I'll double check.
I was gonna say, I did not
All right.
see that.
I think
I
he
was,
using the floodplain data, and I think that's as best as we had. so
Yeah.
I don't think we were gonna send more.
Do we have anything more than FEMA that we're just?
no. So, from what I understand is right, is the ones he's using, or he being the retail coach, that we have nothing, the city has nothing that is more up to date than what he has in his hands. Yeah.
Okay, I just don't wanna.
No, I know. I don't wanna
want
miss a
us
step.
holding him up.
I agree.
Okay, and then on item number 4, we have, I guess this is about the minutes. Bobby moved to approve funds for the MOPAC legal project. Everywhere else where we've got an approval, we have a number of how much, and we don't have that number here. Do we know what that number is, and should we put it in the minutes?
I was gonna say, is it,
I think it was 30.
it's usually the same amount.
40,000.
Is it 30 or 40,000?
30. Yeah,
It's in the budget.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's in the budget for sure.
The
we
proposed
have-
budget.
I'm sorry, MOPAC legal's at
40,
40.
okay.
40,000.
So,
All right, then I would have moved that we amend the minutes just to add the $40,000 item
Okay.
to item number 4, and other than that, I move approval.
okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
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 Do I have to vote?
I'm sorry?
Do I have to vote?
Oh,
For
well,
quorum purposes?
No.
no,
Okay, I'm gonna abstain.
abstain. Okay, okay. Can you say your name just for the record?
My name is David Smith and I'm abstaining.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Brian, for taking note of that, because that's important.
Okay,
Appreciate
well,
that.
it's gonna get back into the budget and into the projects.
But, yeah,
when we
I
talk
think it's
about
important.
those in a minute, so I wanted to get that on the table.
Okay, moving on to the regular agenda, update and discussion on city council action on RCDC proposed projects. So last time we went through let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 different projects, and we submitted those to city council for their approval. Right, am I, Ashley? Okay, I was like,
Can I interrupt for a sec?
yeah, yeah.
Did you guys just amend the minutes, or did you amend and approve the minutes?
We amended and approved.
Okay.
The only amendment was to add the 40K to the MOPAC legal, because that was not in,
Correct. And then was there another motion to approve?
yes, Pat Sheehan, motion to approve. Sorry, Desiree.
And then was there a second? Because I feel like there was just one by Brian, maybe a second by Pat.
He did both.
Yeah, he did both, and then
Yeah.
Pat
He
approved.
included
We-
Pat
approval
seconded.
as amended.
I
Yeah,
put
yes.
the motions together.
Yes.
And
Amend
I
and
seconded
approve.
them both.
And then we approved with David's.
And
abstain.
David abstained.
Right, got that.
Okay. Okay. Ashley?
I'll just give a quick update on
Sure.
those that went to council. So yes, we did send the 4 over to council. They did approve the MOPAC legal expenses at 40,000. They did approve the traffic and pedestrian safety plan. I will note, I just realized in the budget that was in there for 30, and I think we ended up changing that here in the meeting to more than 30. So have to go back and double check, but they did approve that project. I'll double check the amount and we'll make sure the budget matches at the end. They approved the commercial zoning updates. That will take a second read, so they'll be doing a second read next week at council to approve that resolution. And then as far as the park enlivenment program, whatever the food trucks and that kind of plan, they did send that to Park Commission for further review, so they have not approved that yet. They wanted Park Commission to take a swipe at it and kind of look at the program guidelines, and they might send y'all some more questions before approval.
Okay.
So can I ask questions about the item 4?
Sure. What's item 4?
Well, the 4 projects, sorry.
Oh, sure, of course.
Sorry, not item 4. The park project.
Okay.
So in that case, after understanding and watching the council meeting, we were not granular enough in kind of our direction? Because, the last thing we wanted was the same thing that I think they wanted, was this vague, open-ended piece of anyone at any time can have a park deal. But like maybe if it's a calendar of events or some way to restrict hours, operations, whatever and I know Park is going to come back with this as well, but was that just making sure we, in some degree, stay within our lane, right? So,
Right. I think that was the main, that they were hoping for some parameters around what it was and to make sure it wasn't just they wanted to know before they approved like an every weekend something or something like that. I don't think that was the intention
Right.
When it was discussed here, but I think it might be good then for Park to kind of lay that out and give some ideas and send it
I
back.
would expect it naturally to go to Park. So, but no action on our side now. It's just for Park to come back and say, maybe they take this and run with it. Maybe it comes back to us. We don't know.
And when is Park reviewing that? Is that already happened?
Their meeting is a week from today.
Okay.
So we'll have that
Right.
on their agenda, and then I don't know if they'll have it in one meeting or.
What time? Are they evening or are they lunch?
They are 11:30.
Yeah.
So from a recommendation standpoint, can we, because Park doesn't have, I guess, necessarily the budget or resources that RCDC currently has, and in the result, when they talk through this, I think guardrails are important, and we should look at that. If they come back and they say, hey, this is out of scope for RCDC or whatever the context is, if there is a request for funds to come back, we need to make sure that I think it is beneficial to the business corridor and grows business, but in a way that is smart. So when they talk through that, maybe just in that context, I'd be happy to speak at the Park Commission as well, or anyone else.
Yeah, that's my project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sorry I wasn't at the city council meeting to kind of walk them through that. I should have been there, but I'll come to the park.
Well, it
commission
went till
meeting.
1 a.m., so I think you're okay.
Yeah, and if you're gonna do, double team them and.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I mean, I think,
All I'm talking about is coffee service at Little League or games.
Right,
and,
I fully understand.
you know,
Yeah.
I just think we need to articulate
and maybe
that
give a
little
bit
better.
more of the cadence of what we're envisioning for it.
yeah,
Because I don't know if this is true or not, but I suspect there was some lingering issues of whether or not this is like an open-ended invitation for commercialization of the park. That was not the intent. It
Right.
was one-offs here and there. So we just need to, I think we just need to tighten up our language,
So
my thought.
Brian and
Yeah.
Barry, you guys feel you can go next week?
we'll coordinate, but I plan on being there Monday
Okay.
and
Okay.
finding out what their issues are. And I mean, my idea is to get a coffee vendor, probably put them under the shed or maybe even in the building and run a extension cord out of the building to the coffee pot, and that's about it. But I would like actually to see some regularity and do something a little bit more than that, but we gotta get something started to let people know there's something going on.
Yeah, I just think that, we crawl, walk, run is, I think, the way that things will need to work there, but we can talk through it.
Agree.
So
Okay.
let's just
Alright.
make little steps. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, just so you don't step into a DI or anything. I
Phil,
think
you wanna come
more
up?
of the,
Go up there.
Hi, Phil McDuffie, 4711 Timberline, and City Council. I think they're looking, I don't think it's a lingering concern about commercializing the park, first
Okay.
off. I don't think that's the impetus of it. There's a lack of granularity, as you pointed out, on frequency, how often, where's it going to take place, And I think more than anything, it's probably a reaction to the turkey leg truck that was up there and fired up a generator at like 6 a.m. on a Saturday or something like that. And that was none of your doing. That
not
was
even
the
actually-
baseball and softball.
Yeah.
Just kind of on opening day wanted to do something special, and so there was a food truck out there, and it was
So
very noisy on a Saturday morning.
So Phil, in our as our liaison
Yeah,
to the council and also former park commission
yeah,
member, the baseball field, when they have the organization that runs the baseball field per city council, do they have to abide by our rules and regulations? So, for instance, the turkey leg thing, right? We can't have construction on the weekends. We can't have any sounds from 7:30 to 7:30, really, from a construction standpoint, Monday
Right.
through Friday. So, in those cases, what did it just slip through the cracks? Because that would actually be, I think, an argument to define what this looks like, so that
Sure.
that doesn't happen.
They play
Right,
baseball on
exactly.
Saturday up there. I mean,
well, yeah,
No, I remember
and the
that.
baseball,
Not at 6.
the baseball has
Not at
parameters on hours.
yeah.
And
They have a
we would have to
contract.
re-review the lease, and I'm just going off of memory.
Yeah.
But I would say, yeah, it just, they basically, I think
They
what
did not
happened
ask
was,
permission, and then they asked
Yeah.
for grace.
yeah. I mean, I think what happened is
Yeah.
they wanted to do something special.
Yeah.
They got a vendor, and they let the vendor run, and the vendor was kind of like, oh, okay. And, but yes, we still don't allow, excessively noisy things before,
Right.
7 a.m. and all that. And so it was outside of the parameters. So, it was a one-off,
And I think that's a good point. You don't want, from a citizenship standpoint or people, or even guidance, you don't want the extremes to guide, right?
Sure.
I think like trying to make sure we navigate the community as a whole. So I just, maybe we just look at, we'll go to the meeting, tighten it up, and see how we can find maybe some common ground, so that even if we put it, if the park runs it, that's fine. We just put it in a way that it makes it a little more streamlined, maybe a little bit more.
certainly
things
the
like that,
meetings.
so things like that don't happen. I mean,
Sure.
that's not the intent. So
Right.
Right.
I
And I
should
think,
have been much more granular. I should know by now, because I spent many hours right up there on that podium explaining to people in great granular detail
Right.
how this gazebo and playscape out here are not
Yeah.
going to create dramatic changes and attract most of East Austin over here. And we had to go through all sorts of meetings and permutations and combinations and recombinations of plans.
right.
And I should have known better than to just send it over in general
mean,
form
come on.
instead of being
Yeah.
greatly granular.
it's weird that an attorney wouldn't be granular. So.
Oh.
All right.
Okay, moving on.
Let the minutes reflect that.
Yeah. Thanks, Phil.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Thank-
we'll be
and thanks,
there.
Brian and Barry, for following up with that. Yes.
Yeah, and can I also kind of following up
Please.
on this kind of general discussion also, I wanted to get back on the traffic and pedestrian study, and kind of, and partially I have a couple questions, but I have I'm supposed to get together this month with some engineers that I know who have a lot of experience in doing traffic and pedestrian type studies informally, who might be interested in helping us out. Trying to also do a little arm twisting for good deal, et cetera. So from a contracting process, I want to make sure that we're staying on the straight and narrow. I also, Brian, want to make that introduction with you with this group too.
Well, the only input I have, David, is that I was approached to put this on our project list and promote it by Brooke Brown, who wanted the money to then coordinate with the city's efforts to do some traffic planning around the park, as well as
Right.
perhaps with respect to traffic out of Silker. So I used to have relationships with a number of the traffic engineers in town, but it's been years since I've dealt with them, and so I'm vacant on that.
Well, and.
So I'm happy to go with your
Yeah, yeah.
people, but I'm saying coordinate with the mayor or somebody about what the city is doing.
Yeah, that's perfect. And that's the reason I wanted to bring it up, because I want to make sure that we're,
Our part is a
Both
part of the
do-
bigger
doing
process.
We
it-
just said, here's the money and go
Yeah.
use it for, these general purposes. We didn't have anything in there about who to go to.
Right.
and-
well, and also I wanted a discussion with them about, you know, because a lot of times, and this is, I mean, this full disclosure, is Kimley Horn, who, you know, big national group, lots of
Yeah.
experience in
Yeah.
this, have a really good office, don't have any conflicts.
That'd be
and-
great for me.
And who are interested in potentially doing it. One of the things I've asked them to think about is, you know, I mean, I think you and I have talked a lot. You and I have a good idea in terms of the RCDC portion of the project, the sorts of things, questions we want to ask, the things we want to look at. But one of the things I'm, you know, asking them as well is, you know, in addition to things that we want to look at, is there anything that we should be looking at
Yeah,
as a
that's
city, as a
yeah,
community, et cetera?
With respect to the traffic engineers, my experience over the years has been that they know a lot.
Yeah.
But sometimes we in the development community don't know the right questions to ask.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And so
I agree with you.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Is tell us what we don't know enough to ask.
You're exactly
And
right.
I'm fully
Right.
appreciative of doing that.
Yeah.
And, but our focus is on our project maybe from the park, but that's a question, to the commercial area to make some path that would be that way. My only concern is don't get us crosswise with the city, because the city's doing something else with
No,
somebody
no,
else, and I don't know what's happening there.
That's good. Well, what I will do then is I will coordinate with the mayor and with city staff to make sure that we're all kind of on the same page as much as we need to be on the same page, but also,
I agree.
yeah, I want to make sure from a budget and contracting standpoint also we're being as transparent as possible and following all the rules too.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
would think one of the things is, this is,
I would think one of the things too, just to interject, since this is RCDC, you know, Rolling Wood Drive has become a cut through to avoid going through our commercial corridor with the lights and that type of thing. So that might be something to address with the traffic engineers as well, as to, you know, how do we not only make Rolling Wood Drive safer,
Oh, yeah.
but, you know, perhaps encourage people to start using our commercial corridor again, a little bit more, that type of thing.
No, I think that's right in line with, you know, so a lot of these other issues too, and I agree totally. The other thing I have a question about is like, you know, how much also, and this is one of the questions I was going to ask the traffic engineers, how much also does that cut through traffic get influenced by apps like Waze? And, you know, kind of traffic management apps? I mean, you know, I'd be interested in knowing, and I'd be willing to bet that some of these guys can get the data, et cetera, you know, with what frequency some of the navigation apps are actually sending people through
yeah.
the neighborhood, so.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ashley. No further discussion? Number 4? Okay. Item number 4, discussion and possible action on the amendment to the Administrative Services Agreement between RCDC and the City of Rolling Wood. So that is in the packet. And I'll just call you attention, so it's technically page 8 of the packet, and there's sort of an edited, and I can read it for everybody, but basically says, subject to the RCDC continuing to contract with the city for management services, the RCDC will pay to the city for its services pursuant to this agreement a flat fee as approved in the RCDC budget annually by the city council. So instead of having a specific dollar amount, it would be contingent upon the work that has been done for that year. Yes, Brian? It's track changed online.
Pardon?
It's a track changed online.
I have the document, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. My only concern is, I mean, they're gonna provide, the city's gonna provide financial investment reports in the budgets, yada, yada, and project management services, all of which is fine. My question is, does the $77,000 include the various legal fees that we deal with.
No, those are
I mean, Ms. Megan, Megan, are you here just because you enjoy our company on Monday afternoon?
I like the RCDC.
So little things like that, I just wanna make sure that the legal services are included
Right.
in the number. That would be my only request.
They
Ashley.
are, yes, we have included, the legal fees obviously are easy to break out, but a percentage of utilities and salaries
Space,
and
yeah.
everything that kinda just goes into running meetings and everything.
Yeah, but legal fees are not in the list. And being a lawyer and being a nitpicking lawyer, I would like to see legal fees.
now you're nitpicking,
Item
okay.
numbers in the witnesseth. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Let's
5,
see.
6, 7, I don't see anything about legal fees.
Right.
Interesting.
Just try to put the
No,
word
you're
legal
right.
fees in one
It's-
of those, is all I'm asking for.
It would typically, and this was just the prior agreement, and so we had not looked at that, but typically it would fall under your item 6 as far as executive and administrative support, city administrator, city secretary, planning and zoning, and city attorney.
I'm not arguing over the substance here, I'm just saying, look, if that's covered, I wanna know that it's there by.
Yeah.
putting
Certainly.
in- Putting the word legal fees,
Or city attorney being in here.
that's my only
Yeah,
proposed amendment. To the extent we need to have approval with a subject to an amendment, I would propose that we have an approval, subject to the amendment, that we add legal fees to item 6.
is that fine, Megan? Does that work?
Certainly, is that, if that's
There-
how you are accounting
There's no
for that,
recourse if we
definitely.
reject the budget, though. Like, if we reject this motion, I mean, we don't really have a option. Like,
We just go back to what we were doing. I mean, what we're trying to do is have some gray, so that if,
Yep.
say, one year there's RCDC doesn't accomplish different projects, then we're not.
but it's a flat fee, so
But it's a
Well,
flexible
But
amount.
it's, but what we're
right?
trying to do is that if, like, this year we have a lot of projects, we could
Right.
increase that fee.
And this is a continuing discussion or negotiation, sort of a negotiation with a gun to our head situation.
Yeah.
That I think David started last year,
yeah, we tried.
Yeah.
Well, and I think this just.
and which I wish he had won last year, but we're making incremental progress to get back to a number that I think is more rational, but
I
with
think
the gun to our head, I think 77, adding in legal fees just to make sure that we don't have any, extra thing there is.
Makes sense, Brian.
Is what we're gonna have to live with this year.
No, I mean, it's what we're gonna have to live with this year, and I will say, I give a lot of credit to, city and city staff has been really, really supportive about, on years going forward, working with us to get a better understanding of, just how much, how much of their time and city resources we're
Yeah.
taking up. So hopefully, rolling forward, at the end of every year, we'll be able to have a better understanding of, okay, here's
Right.
what we're actually using by way of resources, and here's a dollar amount.
That's fine.
I guess my question with this one is, so we've been asking for this, I mean, this is not an indictment on you, but when Amber was here, we've been asking for this true up for 2 years now. I know we had our reasons for doing it in the past, and now we're moving to what is less dollars, it sounds like, which is good.
It was 88 last year.
I know, but how come, if I was a government auditor, just hypothetically, how would it take 2 years for this to happen?
No, we do have that information. We did come to the 77 with kind of a calculation of rent based on what would generally be for rent in the city of Rollingwood. So we used a Mira Vista property that was available, or we had some data on the square footage there. Utilities, salaries, website, software, and hardware. We pretty much dedicated 20% to the RCDC just as we have 5 boards and commissions, kind of how we divide up our time. We use 20%. Audit services, property and liability insurance, legal fees are in there, and then we added in kind of a discount to bring it down to the 77.
Yeah.
So we did a 40% discount to bring it down to
Wouldn't it be a
77,000.
sixth though? Because there's 5 boards, but then there's also the 6th side of all the city ongoing maintenance. So shouldn't it be a 6th versus a 5th?
Sure. I mean, that's definitely, I think what this, I would like to see from this is an ongoing dialogue with the
Yeah.
council ahead of actual budget season. So we have these numbers. I think it's a good time to say, mid-year before we're budgeting, say, hey, let's talk to council about what you know,
Yeah.
what we want that to look like, and then to break it all down then, and then when it comes down to budget season, it's just, here's what we decided on. So I think that's a good time to do it, but.
Okay, I just think it, instead of 5, it probably should be, there's some allocation that's allocated to the day-to-day operations of just the city being the city.
Mhm.
That's
Sure.
all.
Jumping ahead to looking at the financials though, we haven't paid any of the 88,000 that we were supposed to pay under this prior budget. When do we pay that?
We do
Yeah.
usually at the end of the year,
Yeah, it's
just
the
a
end.
one-time transfer.
Pardon? This
Yeah,
month?
yeah.
Mhm. Just usually at the end of the year, we make
Yeah.
that transfer. We do that kind of for all of our fund transfers.
Okay,
Abel, I'm sorry, I do know your name, I'm sorry. Saw
So-
Izzy come in here,
Do we have a motion? Brian?
my motion is to amend the agreement to add into item 6 the term legal fees, and with that, with that change to approve the administrative agreement
Okay.
for the coming year.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Pat. All in favor say aye.
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 I,
aye.
Great. Motion approves. Thank you. Okay, discussion and possible action on resolution approving the RCDC budget.
So what you have before you is budget with both revenues and expenditures. Some notable things that have changed as far as revenues go. We did bump up the sales tax revenue projection. We've just been seeing kind of an increase, and we've always budgeted pretty conservatively, but we increased the whole city's projection, so that changed the portion of RCDC from the 150,000 to 200,000. As far as income, that's really all we budget for there. In your departmental expenditures for economic development, that 15,000 did go up to 20,000. That's because it's normally just a flat percentage of what comes in as sales tax. So when it's 200,000, that bumped up to 20,000. In project related, you'll see the 88,000 there went down to 77,000 per the discussions we've had regarding the agreement. And then lastly, your projects department. I will say I did notice, and I'm sorry I didn't catch this till now, the mobility, connectivity, and safety, that was in there at the 30,000 that we had originally talked about. We changed it to 55 at the last meeting because it was now going to include some of the actual, I think it was the planning and the actual costs.
Right.
So we'll make that update. So when y'all approve this today, if you wouldn't mind approving that with that amended amount, but you'll see in there the MOPAC legal expenses, and then the commercial code updates that were also approved by the city council at 30,000. And with that, there any questions?
Other than the payment of the administrative fee at the end of the year, do we have any other significant items that need to be paid before the end of the current year that we ought to anticipate similar charges in the future year?
So if there's any outstanding payments, I believe maybe to the retail coach when we finish up
Yeah.
that payment. So what we normally do is the city pays the invoices, so that way we don't have to wait to get a meeting and have people sign it, and then we just have RCDC reimburse the city. So if there are anything of those outstanding or any of the, only thing I can think of is Bickerstaff, but those have been, I think those are all done. So
Yeah.
that should be the
It's
only
just the
outstanding
retail
check.
coach.
Yep.
And how much is that?
I think we got our second installment of 7,500.
Yes.
So it was gonna take up that 15,000.
Right.
So, should be one check
Is-
that
is
we just need.
Is that in the future budget, or are we anticipating doing that in the current budget?
That was for this fiscal year.
That was for this fiscal year.
So we'll cut that check as before the 9/30
Mhm.
deadline, and that will reflect in this fiscal year.
All right, I just wanted to know.
Yeah,
again,
like, do we
whether
have-
there's
Yeah.
other issues
Sure.
out there that need to be carried forward. And then I know that when we have this discussion with the park commission people, we'll have to go back to the council and they'll have to
Yes,
amend the budget.
that will start all over
and
again.
do all that
Right.
rigmarole, so there's no reason to get into that now.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
No.
but we'll get to do that,
Okay.
much to my enjoyment.
I know. So exciting. Any other comments? If not, do I have a motion?
I think I did one, didn't I? No.
No.
No, you did not.
Why don't somebody else do a motion? I've done everything. I've done everything. so
I
far.
can't.
And am I paid extra if I have a 100%?
We'll double the salary, that's what we'll do.
You're pretty in this cold.
Yeah.
I get paid double?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
0 times
Double
0.
zeros.
All that, so I'll make a motion to approve the financials, RCDC budget for fiscal year 2022, 2023.
The amendment.
And,
With the
amendment.
Yeah,
right?
with the
With the
amendment.
amendment, yes.
Thank you.
And I'll second it just to change it up.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion approves. Okay. Now the next fun one, discussion and possibility to amend the RCDC bylaws to move the regular meeting to the second Monday of the month, starting at noon, and amend the terms of the board members and officers to commence January 1st and end December 31st, which is in correspondence with the fiscal year. It's been off, so getting those aligned. And we talked about doing Mondays at noon, just it's easier for people that are traveling for work. So this was based on previous conversation, but anyone else have any other?
The only thing is we'll need to understand holidays, Labor Day. Memorial Day,
Good point.
like that. So we'll just need to have special meetings those months.
Right.
But otherwise, no.
Right, and that we have that with the park commission often. They're the first Monday, so
Okay.
like with Labor Day, they would actually normally bump to this week, but then since y'all took the spot, we're gonna bump them. So
Okay.
we try to just keep it the same day
Exception.
in the next couple weeks if possible,
Yeah,
and we always reach
let's
out to
muscle
the
them around
commission.
a little bit.
That's right.
And then it's also, I don't believe it would be considered a special meeting necessarily if we're just rescheduling
Yeah.
it, so that doesn't
Correct.
change any of your
Correct.
quorum requirements or anything, so
Okay.
just a quick reschedule.
Yeah. Megan, did you-
All right, in the hopes that I'll get a bonus,
Hold on, Megan. Hold on. Megan has something to say.
I
Hold on.
apologize. So, in working through this Friday afternoon with Ashley, in reviewing the last bylaws that were approved, we did discover that the terms had already been updated, so that is not a component of this resolution. We also noted that the current language in the bylaws allows both the regular board meetings as well as the annual meeting to not have to amend the bylaws to change those, but can be done by resolution of the board, so you don't have to go through the process of y'all approve amendments, council approve amendments. So this is put forward as a resolution. Once we discovered that, instead of an amendment to the bylaws, that you can adjust those meeting times by resolution, and that is the only topic covered in the resolution, is the regular and annual, which is always held at your regular board meeting time in January.
Okay.
And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay.
So we don't need to make any changes to this resolution to do what
We're
we've been
just
talking about,
acknowledging-
which is to change
Yep,
the date
yes,
of
that
the
it's happened.
monthly meeting and the election of officers.
Yes, sir.
Well, all right.
Okay,
I
great.
move approval
So-
of what's on page number 17.
Okay, number 7, update from the retail coach. Oh, sorry, we didn't vote. I'm sorry. We had a motion. Sorry. Throw me off. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, David. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay. No more motions. Sorry, Pat.
Your bonus is
Okay,
now
number
in
7,
person.
update from the retail coach, which Ashley, do you have that update?
Yes, the only update we got from them was that they represented Rollingwood at the Retail Live Conference on September 1st, and they are currently following up on those leads. And they have a couple projects in negotiations and just kind of discussions, but all of that is generally confidential until there's any
Okay.
real progress made. So we've spoken to him. We've let him know about the updated meeting dates. So he's going to try to be here on our Monday meetings and have, I think at last month's meeting he mentioned some kind of written report. So
Mhm.
we'll reach back out and try to get that ahead of the next meeting as well.
Would it be, just to make sure that our dollars are well spent, is there a way to get, maybe next time in the future, when they represent us, like someone just, vetting that? I know they are. I just meant from like either a visual or organizational standpoint. How do we know that's happening? I'm
Do we
not
know what
in
they're
all ways
saying?
saying they're not.
Is that's your question, and I think appropriate? Do we know what they're presenting?
Right.
Yeah, we should at least
Yeah.
ex post facto get a copy
Yeah.
of what it is, their
You-
sales brochure or something.
Yeah.
I will ask.
Ask for that as well as whatever the
Yeah.
item was that was in the minutes. that-
I'm not allowed in Vegas anymore. But
Uh-oh.
I'm just joking. But no, I'm not trying
This
to
is
go
being
to Vegas.
recorded, Barry.
No, I just think it'd be good if we just understood what they were presenting.
No, I think that's a
Yeah,
fair
sure.
question to ask.
Yeah.
Agreed. I will ask for that.
Okay.
Abel,
Last
the
and
man,
final.
the legend.
Abel.
We got Abel here.
RCDC financials through July 31st, 2022.
Sounds like it's going well if we got it up to 50 grand.
Yeah.
So.
Mike, my questions about, what, did we have any bills outstanding, I think were probably appropriate there, but they were really
okay.
aimed at this as well, so that was my only question, was whether we had anything out there.
Do you have any questions? The only transaction I had to make basically was the sales taxes that we received for the month of August. I'm sorry, July. August, we just about doubled the amount received. You haven't seen it here because this is the July financials, I'm sorry. But August is gonna be like double the amount received.
Sales tax wise?
Yes, sir.
Instead of 15, 30?
Close to 30.
Any reason? Or is it audit or?
They usually reflect the summer transactions.
Okay,
The amount received in August is the amount that occurred in June.
gotcha.
Not cumulative, just June is reflective of August, right?
I'm sorry?
It's
The
not
June
cumulative.
transactions we received in August.
Yeah, I was just making sure I heard you correctly.
Abel, is there a seasonality to the income, like we got a big chunk in February reflecting
December.
holiday sales in
Yeah.
December?
Not necessarily. It's hard to predict, but sometime usually it's up compared to, let's say, the spring.
Right, because of the holidays.
Abel, this may not be related to the actual budgetary, at least where we're at from a budget standpoint, but at one point we had, Emily, you were here, I think it's probably me, you and David. This was about a year ago, we talked about how the Amazon true up of our sales tax. Do we know where that stands from a budgetary standpoint?
With the comptroller's office?
Yeah, like,
No, I don't.
How do we, meaning we, like, how do we help or facilitate that? Because at one point it seemed like it was a significant amount of dollars we were leaving on the table, and I thought we had proposed an amendment, but I don't I don't remember it going anywhere.
Isn't there a court case going on right now on that?
I'm not sure. I just remember we had talked about the fact that the online
Yeah, I know
sales
we
tax
talked
wasn't
about it,
collected
but
yet.
I thought I saw on TML where there was a court case ongoing right now. and
Okay.
Some cities were appealing it. I don't
Well,
know if they're
that's
for or
the
against.
Round Rock matter. And it's not a court case involving us, but there
Yeah.
is a court case, I think, again, if you know more, tell me about it, but Round Rock is involved with the state over whether or not
Point of
it
sale.
should be the point of
Yeah.
sale or the point
Oh.
of the company's
Receiving.
location.
Yeah,
That
right.
is determinative of what jurisdiction gets the sales tax generated from the sale.
Well, then
And
you get
Round
more
Rock has been
access.
collecting Dell's sales of their whole world.
It's,
Good for Round
Big
Rock.
chunk of their budget.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, how does that reflect on us? I know that over the years, we have had periodic audit and resettlement and always gotten more money because of the problem that you talked
Right.
about. But where we are in the city administration, if anywhere, about looking at that again, I have no idea.
I know when previous mayor was involved in those conversations and pushed that forward. I don't know, is it something we should just visit with Mayor Massengill about, just to see how we can be helpful, if we can be?
Right. I thought they already were on destination.
Yeah.
Are they not?
Yeah.
There were, but again, I thought there was a court case dealing with it.
Ultimately, I just want to find out if we're collecting the right amount or not.
I know.
That's, and so I don't know if that's
Comptroller.
us
Yeah.
or,
It-
I mean, we spend a lot of money, like, doling out dollars to other stuff. This is one where we really could, like, spend 10,000 and get 100,000.
It-
so
Right.
It's my understanding.
so go ahead, that's it.
It's my understanding, talking with former mayors, that this is something that the Tickets Comptroller's Office has actually been doing
Right.
a pretty darn good job of, just because it affects so many other jurisdictions as well with regard to online sales. And so they've been doing it just kind of as a course of matter.
Yeah.
And I think at least last time I visited the subject, everyone seemed to be pretty comfortable that when they kind of true up, we're getting the funds that we are. But I don't, mind having
Well,
a conversation with,
Yeah.
with
I
the
guess
mayor
if,
about it.
if you look at our budget and then revenue, there's never a true up that happens. We don't have a supplementary income that comes in as a result of a true up.
Well, because I think the true up, I think in the digital age and everything else, they capture it pretty well. I think there's some I think the true up that happens at the comptroller's office level is not enough to really, you know, have this huge chunk of cash kind of coming in.
But there's nothing coming in from our budget. There should at least be something. So if it's trued up at all, even if it's $5, we would see it on our budget, right? Like, so if there's, because RCDC gets a fraction of the sales tax.
So it's just gonna be coming in as
I was
sales.
It's just gonna be coming in sales tax, yeah.
It's not gonna be split out of.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
they
just
don't,
gonna be
they don't break it out.
Sales
Yeah.
tax, it's just the sales.
For
tax.
like in 1 month, okay.
Yeah, because it's
That's the case.
what we're collecting from the state in terms of our portion of the sales tax is a variable number.
Right.
How do we just ask somebody,
Right.
who in the city
Who
should
knows?
call the comptroller's office and ask about the status of this thing? I think that's what varies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in a very short-winded way. That's exactly right. That's my point.
But I don't know. Abel, is that you, or is it the mayor, or who should we?
I think in the past, Mayor Massengill, I thought he said he knew somebody at the controller's office.
I'm
Because-
happy to ask the mayor
Ask
about
Gavin?
it.
Mayor.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna talk to him about
In
a
the
couple other
context
things.
of
so
our budget for,
And maybe you can report that back to us, David?
I will.
Okay. Awesome.
hopefully that was in the context of the financials.
I feel like it was.
I think it was, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna close the meeting here at 12:51. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.